Motion and a second. Madam Secretary, call the roll.
The motion is due pass to the Appropriations Committee on the following bills: AB 2746, AB Obernolte, AB 2798, Gatto, AB 2902, Committee on Utilities and Commerce. Gatto. Patterson.
Aye.
Patterson, aye. Burke. Aye. Burke, aye. Chavez.
Aye.
Chavez, aye. Daly.
Aye.
Daly, aye. Eggman. Cristina Garcia.
Aye.
Cristina Garcia, aye. Eduardo Garcia. Hadley.
Aye.
Hadley, aye. Roger Hernandez. Obernolte.
Aye.
Obernolte, aye. Quirk.
Aye.
Quirk, aye. Santiago. Ting. Williams.
Aye.
Williams, aye.
Members, the consent calendar has passed. Mr. Williams, do we have other? We'll keep the consent calendar open for others to join it later. Mr. Williams, you may present your bill.
Good afternoon, Mr. Vice Chair and members. I'd like to accept the first. I'll start with AB 2313. That's biomethane cost to interconnect. I'd like to accept the committee's amendments. This bill helps defray the costs for biomethane projects to interconnect to common carrier pipelines. Biogas, which comes from dairies or green waste, is made up primarily of methane when it degrades. Biogas can be then processed to produce pipeline quality methane and is carbon neutral. In 2014, the PUC has adopted standards for pipeline quality biomethane. The PUC also adopted a $40 million ratepayer-funded incentive program to help cover the cost to interconnect. This bill highlights that it's been a significant challenge to decarbonizing the gas sector. Biomethane is an underutilized resource, and the market has been slow to develop in California because of the collection, purification, and pipeline injection of biomethane. All three could be cost prohibitive without incubating this market. AB 2313 increases the cap per project on the incentive from $1.5 to $3 million for an individual project and $5 million for a dairy cluster project. These are amounts that producers say would truly change the economics of a biomethane project. In an SB 350 era, California should prioritize in-state supplies of carbon-neutral fuel in place of burning fossil fuels.
Move the bill. Your witness is in support.
Mr. Chair and members, Mike Dillon representing the California Association of Sanitation Agencies, all the major wastewater agencies, and also County Sanitation Districts of Los Angeles, which serves 78 cities and over 5 million people. As mentioned, this bill would further Mr. Gatto's AB 1900 of a couple years ago. We have one large agency that's currently doing pipeline methane injection. That's in San Diego. With additional funding incentives, we think that more would be interested in looking at projects, particularly for our agencies that currently generate more energy than they need on site. And thanks to what a lot of them are doing in more recent years now is taking organic food waste from restaurants, which spikes the gas in the digesters. And we think that as time goes on, there'd be more and more opportunities for these types of projects. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, Beth Olaso, yes. Beth Olaso with the Agricultural Energy Consumers Association in strong support. We represent agriculture and especially the proposed cluster down in Kern County for a big dairy project. This would really help get them across the finish line to financing and feasibility. So in strong support.
Any others in support, please? Is there any opposition? Seeing none. To the members, any questions, comments? Seeing none, Mr. Williams, you want to close?
Just respectfully ask for your aye vote.
All right, we have a motion and a second do pass. Were there any amendments? As amended to appropriations. Call the roll, please, Madam Secretary.
The motion is due pass as amended with the amendments shown in the committee analysis and re-refer to the Appropriations Committee. Gatto. Patterson.
Aye.
Patterson, aye. Burke. Aye. Burke, aye. Chavez. Chavez, no. Daly. Jolly not voting. Eggman. Christina Garcia. Aye. Christina Garcia, aye. Eduardo Garcia. Hadley. No. Hadley, no. Hernandez. Obernolte. No. Obernolte, no. Quirk. Aye. Quirk, aye. Santiago. Ting. Williams.
Aye.
Williams, aye.
Mr. Williams' bill is on call. We'll hold it open. Thank you.
The second bill is AB 2454. I'd like to begin by accepting the committee's suggested amendments and would like to thank committee staff for once again doing great work. This ensures demand response services are procured by IOUs by solidifying the role demand response plays in the long-term procurement proceeding. In December of 2014, the PUC authorized the undertaking of a demand response potential study to determine the amount of demand response that is available in the state potentially and is currently being completed by Lawrence Berkeley National Lab. The potential study will be a transparent framework that associates numbers in gigawatts with every demand response in use, how many hours of avoided generation are available, and a forecast of costs. I want to clarify, this isn't a potential study, this is a study of the potential. However, before the study's completion, the PUC adopted a decision that disadvantaged procurement certain demand response programs. This preemptive decision significantly impacts the ability to incorporate demand response into the long-term procurement proceeding. And again, remember, this was done before the study's completion. This bill, with the committee's amendments, will require the PUC to consider the results of the study during the long-term procurement proceeding as the IOUs procure cost-effective preferred resources.
Move the bill.
Mr. Chairman, members, John White with
support, please.
With the Clean Power Campaign in support of the bill.
Mr. Chair and members, Aaron Niemela representing the Efficiency Council, also in support of the bill.
Mona Tierney-Lloyd with Enernoc, a demand response provider in California. We support the bill.
Good afternoon, Chairman and Committee. Andrea DeVoe for TechNet in support of the bill.
Good afternoon. Jennifer Chamberlain with Johnson Controls. We're a member of the Advanced Energy Management Alliance, which is in support of the bill. Thank you.
Scott Wetch on behalf of the California Coalition of Utility Employees. With the committee amendments, we can support the bill.
Good afternoon. Chris Rosa on behalf of the Silicon Valley Leadership Group in support.
Thank you. Any witnesses in opposition? Please come forward.
Good afternoon. Amber Blix with the Independent Energy Producers Association. IP's primary concern with the bill is related to the requirement which would trigger a report to the legislature within 60 days of the PUC issuing a final decision approving any new capacity additions in excess of 100 megawatts. So while IEP is certainly not opposed to a report that provides information on energy efficiency, procurement of demand response, and things like that, IEP is concerned that we're linking this report to a final decision for new capacity addition, and it implies to us that the legislature may take separate additional action on these final decisions, which we believe could create potential for delay and uncertainty in these procurement decisions going forward. I'll just note that Section 454.5 of the utilities, which deals with the utilities procurement plans, is designed to reduce uncertainty and delay in procurement, and it also requires that the utilities procurement plan shows that unmet resource needs are first met through all available energy efficiency and demand reduction resources that are cost-effective, reliable, and feasible. So I think while it may be appropriate for the PUC to report to the legislature on efforts regarding demand response and energy efficiency, we're just concerned on this linking of the report to the approval of additional capacity. And we think we would like to work with the author going forward to potentially look at this and regarding the reporting requirement and decoupling that from a decision on new capacity additions. We think that we can get to finding the information that we're looking for as part of this bill without actually linking the two. So regarding where the language is currently, we have to oppose. Thank you.
Other witnesses in opposition, please? Seeing none. Here to the members. Any questions, comments? Mr. Chavez? Any others?
Member Williams, is it your intent to bring the decision-making process from the PUC into the legislative body?
No, Mr. Chavez. We routinely debate bills in this committee that asks the PUC to consider questions, and that's what this bill does. Unfortunately, they just arrived at a conclusion before the study was out, and so we have to give some legislative direction to actually consider it after the available information is actually available.
When your discussions of putting this together for the demand response, what has been the position of the integrated system operator?
They've not taken a position on the bill. They have not taken a position on the bill.
Well, they're the ones dealing with it on a minute-by-minute basis as far as the...
Sure, but if we never did an energy bill in this committee when they didn't take a position, we would not pass half of the bills that go through this committee.
It has to do with demand response. That's why I'm just wondering.
I understand. Sure.
Mr. Chairman, members, John White with the Clean Power Campaign. In the strategic plan of the California Independent System Operator, they talk about the importance of demand response, particularly in the future, as we really need to balance how much generation we have at certain times against when we're using the power. And we're really talking about both reducing the demand for like efficiency, but also enabling there to be some movement around of demand, and that's something that ISO has supported. I don't think they take a position on the bill, but the field, which we're trying to encourage, is something that they have expressed support and great interest in.
I agree with everything. How does that impact upon this report, this in bringing the legislators involved in it? How does that work? What are we going to do with it?
Well, the report is being done, the study is being done by the Lawrence Berkeley National Lab, and it was paid for by ratepayer. It was commissioned by the PUC to take a look at the potential of demand response, which is on everybody's radar now as we look forward. And so this merely says, be sure when those results have been presented, the potential study gets taken into consideration in the long-term procurement plan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Williams, I'm sort of torn on this bill. I'm supportive of efforts to make sure that we're taking advantages of demand response opportunities and actually getting the benefit of that study in the decision making of the PUC. I am supportive of that. I am concerned about linking the procurement with this discussion around demand response. I would love to think that we can achieve best demand response without linking those decisions and without adding additional uncertainty to new generation capacity when we need it. So I'm not going to vote today, but I hope that I can support this bill as it evolves.
Maybe I could close and give a response at the same time.
You certainly may, unless, well, we have got a few more questions and comments. So Mr. Quirk next, and then we'll get to that.
So I am quite confident we can integrate demand. Well, we'll see what happens with the study, but I do believe down the line we will be able to introduce it without prejudice against reliability. I think that the safeguards will be in place, but let's wait and see what the study has to say. My question is with regard to the independent energy producers. Are you sure that the legislature is the right place? I mean, I can't imagine too many of us, maybe me, but not too many of us reading this report going to the legislature. That's my concern.
Can you clarify that question? Is the question about...
There's a report with the independent energy producers. Question the report coming to the legislature?
I thought they questioned the linking of the report with the oversight element of the bill, which maybe I could explain the oversight element.
Why don't you explain? Maybe I don't understand.
So there's really two elements of this bill. One is the requirement to consider that actual report, for the PUC to consider that actual report. The other is the study requirement in terms of the purpose with so preferred resources are called preferred resources for a reason. We have made the determination in the state that we would rather have more renewables than more natural gas generation. And so there's a conspicuous case in my area called the Moore Park RFO, where a natural gas fired power plant is being considered, and there is uncertainty in the community and at large whether there was a real effort to secure preferred resources in advance. The purpose is to ensure that if there is no available preferred resources, that we know why. If there was an effort previous to the procuring of more natural gas to solicit preferred resources.
Terrific. Other questions, comments? You're welcome to close.
Respectfully ask for your aye vote.
All right, we need a motion. I'm sorry. The bill's been moved by Quirk, seconded by Burke. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
The motion is due pass as amended with the amendment shown in the committee analysis and re-refer to the Appropriations Committee. Gatto.
Aye.
Gatto, aye. Patterson?
No.
Patterson, no. Burke?
Aye.
Burke, aye. Chavez?
No.
Chavez, no. Daly? Daly, no. Eggman? Cristina Garcia? Eduardo Garcia? Hadley?
Not voting.
Hadley, not voting. Hernandez? Obernolte?
Aye.
Obernolte, aye. Quirk?
Aye.
Quirk, aye. Santiago?
Aye.
Santiago, aye. Ting? Williams?
Aye.
Williams, aye.
That bill's on call. Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to quickly lift the call on Assembly Bill 2313.
Gatto?
Aye.
Gatto, aye. Patterson?
Change my vote to no.
Patterson, no.
Mr. Chairman, quick explanation. Yeah, sure. Misunderstood the source of the subsidy on this. This was ratepayer, and I just think it's difficult if we're going to have ratepayer. Cap and trade and other forms would be good, but I am not comfortable with ratepayer subsidies.
Eggman? Eduardo Garcia? Hernandez? Santiago?
Aye.
Santiago, aye. Ting?
Okay, that bill's back on call. All right, I see Mr. Nazarian. Mr. Nazarian, you are here to present Assembly Bill 2603. Welcome.
Thank you. Chair and members, under state law, the PUC is required to license charter party carriers which provide for-profit, prearranged transportation services. Examples include tour buses, most limousines, and as of recent, TNCs such as Uber and Lyft. Unfortunately, in June of 2014, the state auditor found PUC's Transportation Enforcement Branch lacked the adequate procedures to process complaints and investigations. The auditor findings are alarming, as the PUC has recently asserted its regulatory authority over TNCs. TNC services have skyrocketed in the last few years, and high-profile incidents have arisen involving surge pricing and lack of accessibility. Drivers have been also accused of assaulting, kidnapping, raping, harassing, and stealing from passengers. AB 2603 empowers the voice of the consumer, ensures the PUC properly investigate risks, and protects the riding public by establishing a telephone number for consumers to communicate concerns or complaints regarding services provided by charter party carriers of passengers, including TNCs. Additionally, AB 2603 requires each charter party carrier of passengers to include the telephone number designated by the PUC on all contracts or service. Currently, For a consumer to file a complaint, they must first navigate through the PUC website, then download, then print and return by mail a complaint form to the PUC. This process causes delays for the PUC to assert enforcement authority. In an age of technology and a culture of on-demand services, it is imperative that we provide accessible tools such as a telephone number for consumers to vocalize their concerns. Overall, this bill requires the PUC to develop procedures and guidelines for receiving complaints, to investigate carriers, to ensure that it resolves complaints against passenger carriers in a thorough manner, and provides for a telephone number for consumers to communicate complaints. With me is Greg Cook of the Greater Livery Association.
Mr. Chair,
Welcome, sir. Thank you.
Greg Cook, representing the Greater California Livery Association. We're in strong support of this bill. As Mr. Nazarian mentioned in his discussion, the audit that was conducted a few years ago clearly showed that the CPUC had failed in its enforcement of state law and regulation as it relates to charter party carriers. We think it's important to note that the fund that pays the PUC enforcement account comes directly from our operators. 0.3% of their gross revenues goes into the state public utility transportation reimbursable account. We anticipate and think we can be assured that the costs associated with the new calling system that is outlined in the bill would be borne by that account. And we have in fact told the PUC that we would be strongly supportive of implementing this program. Now, why? The why is that today the public has nowhere to go when there's a problem with a limousine operator or any other charter party carrier. A few years ago, a member of the Assembly staff, whom all of you know quite well, called me one Monday morning because her daughter, who had arranged for a limousine to pick up her and her classmates to go to the senior prom, had been left without service because they'd called a 1-800 limo number, ended up with a broker in Chicago, and the limousine company didn't show up. And when she called the broker to say, "Where's the limo?" the guy said, "Oh, I guess he couldn't make it." That's the kind of service that the public should be able to report to somebody at the PUC. This would enable them to be able to do so. The bill requires that on all of our contracts, written contracts or mobile contracts, that contract indicate the PUC's call-in number so the public can have access to reporting concerns or complaints, and the PUC can investigate them. We think this is a very strong, important enforcement measure, and we appreciate your attention and urge an aye vote. Thank you.
Any other witnesses in support? Public comment in support? Let's go to witnesses in opposition.
Mr. Chair and members, John Doherty on behalf of TechNet in opposition to the bill. Apologize that the opposition letter did not make the committee deadline, but everybody should have them. They were delivered earlier this week to offices and committee staff. We have two major points of concern with the bill as amended. The first is we do not think that there's an existing problem that justifies the legislation, and in fact, if there is a problem, that it's not the appropriate approach. The PUC, as already indicated by the author, has an existing complaint process, including an 800 number that consumers can call to figure out how to work through it. But more importantly, and on top of that, the transportation network companies have built in a transformative real-time feedback system that immediately addresses serious complaints and incorporates less significant concerns into a driver rating system. These make the specific 800 number unnecessary, and as I think most of us can understand, what you need to do is build into the system immediate feedback that will improve the service rather than going through a government regulated agency to try and address a problem. The second concern is a requirement in Section 5388A that the 800 number be incorporated into every electronic transaction. This will needlessly clutter and complicate an app designed for ease of use and consumer satisfaction. Consumers only need and want this information in the rare instance when a complaint isn't handled to their satisfaction. And incorporating it into every electronic transaction is burdensome, costly, and unnecessary. So for those reasons, we'd respectfully ask for your no vote.
Thank you. Next witness.
Thank you, members. Robert Callahan with the Internet Association, also opposed. I'd like to apologize to the author as well for the late opposition, but would echo the comments of Mr. Doherty with TechNet and ask for your no vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there public comment in opposition? Let's turn it over to members of the committee. Questions, comments? Well, Mr. Nazarian, I would question whether this was needed as well. The CPUC already has an 800 number, and they've already got a mechanism for feedback. And there's a little bit of a concern that this calls out one industry, and that already has the mechanisms for immediate feedback and would require a California-specific rule for an application that is nationwide. Do you care to address that?
I do. Thank you for saying exactly that. You used the word immediate, and that's what I'm trying to address. Right now, if you try to offer an immediate response, it won't get there within 2 days' time at best if there's no hiccup in the postal service. You need to find the form, the document on the PUC website, download it, fill it out, and then mail it. And so what I'm trying to help here with is modernizing the very government services that we complain so often about and trying to make sure that it's up to par with its private counterparts.
All right, Mr. Williams.
Elaborate for me what if can people in this realm of transport services not use the other two lines, and why was the third line discontinued by the PUC? Maybe I'll ask the PUC that question if they're.
I'd actually appreciate that as well.
Yeah.
From what we understand, there is a phone line, and we've also offered or have written up drafted amendment language that suggests that if there are existing lines, we're happy to utilize that. We're not trying to create extra burden on any new number or infrastructure. What we're trying to do is figure out how we can highlight that there is a relief, a source where you can contact and have your complaint heard. And so.
Then is there a representative from the PUC here? I would hope, given the chair's bill coming up later.
That's why they're not here.
Well, that's kind of disappointing.
The PUC's 800 number is 800-894-9444. It exists.
And you can call transport
specifically for transportation.
Okay.
So
that's I think that's important. And I guess the question I hope that PUC will answer at some point is why they discontinued the other line, what the intricacies of that are.
Yeah. And it could be a lack of staff resources, but this committee will note that the PUC chairman was before us last month, and several committee members are co-authors on a bill that moves the PUC towards focusing on things like gas pipeline explosions and things that we believe to be their core functions. And the committee feels that this bill goes in the wrong direction, but I will let you close.
I just respectfully ask for a vote. I don't know if I need to answer any more questions here, but this is just something that I felt was important for there to be a source of being able to find the right person, the right place to go to, rather than having to go through the arduous process of finding a number. Not everyone has the phone number readily available at hand, especially when there's an incident that takes place.
All right. Is there a motion on this matter? Is there a second? Okay, the measure dies for fail of a second. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have Mr. Hernandez, who is chairing another committee, and so he is going to present next. And Mr. Hernandez has Assembly Bill 2381.
Good afternoon, Chair and members. Today I'm presenting Assembly Bill 2381, which requires electrical corporations to provide an automatic bill credit for customers who have lost power for 24 hours. I would like to begin by accepting both committee amendments. Last summer, the city of El Monte in my district was hit with widespread power outages. Thank you so much. These outages left people without power for almost 24 hours. Additionally, this committee held a hearing on the vast outages that occurred in Long Beach, which lasted for almost a week. Power outages such as these invariably have a negative impact on the customers of the utility. Food items may spoil, medical devices may not be able to function, and those who work from home may be unable to access computers or phones. While the utilities do offer a claims program to reimburse losses, several constituents came to me and were frustrated because they were unable to document their losses or did not know that such a program even existed. Currently, both Pacific Gas and Electric and Southern California Edison offer a program that provides an automatic $30 bill credit for 24-hour power outages. This bill would codify and improve upon this consumer protection program by requiring all electrical corporations to offer a similar plan. The program, I'm sorry? Well, please continue.
Let's go back to this presentation. Let's decorum on all sides. Thank you. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr.
Floor is
Chair.
yours. Thank you.
The program is required to have the following best practice: an automatic $30 credit to the customer's account, funded from shareholders' profits as a current practice, public outreach and education, a report to the legislature. With me here to testify in support of the bill is Councilmember Anthony Misitich from the city of Rancho Palos Verdes. I respectfully ask and I vote.
Welcome, Councilmember. First witness in support.
Good afternoon again, Chair and committee members. Again, my name's Anthony Misitich. I'm a council member for the city of Rancho Palos Verdes. Our city is fully behind this bill. We passed a resolution last year that very much mirrors the exact language in this bill to send out to the California contract cities and the League of Cities. As I mentioned in my testimony under when Councilmember Hadley had AB 1800 before you, our city in the last 4 years has experienced approximately 40 power outages a year. And in 2012, when I was mayor, we had a power outage for 7 days straight. I experienced it. Last year, we had a power outage for over 30 hours. All these power outages weren't because of natural disasters, winds, or earthquake, those kind of things. These were because of infrastructure failures. I believe this bill puts the pressure on the utilities to invest in their infrastructure to make sure that it's functioning correctly and operating normally. If there is no other natural disaster to prevent it from so, it should be operating normally. And so I believe that this puts the onus on the utility that they would be subject to crediting back the consumer, which should be compensated for that loss over extended periods of time. Over 24 hours of power due to the utilities' failure to upgrade and maintain their infrastructure is unconscionable. So our city and I fully support this bill and urge the committee to approve it.
Thank you very much, and thank you for coming up here to weigh in. We really appreciate that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other witnesses in support? Public comment in support? Witnesses in opposition? Public comment in opposition? Let's go to the committee. Questions, comments? Mr. Chavez.
Maybe for the mayor, since he probably has a better idea. Let's say it was. I see where this is a. I guess if it's an emergency or something, you're not counting that as a this would go in effect. It's only when it was a.
You're referring to myself.
But I was going to ask you the question of how much would it cost an independent operator in your situation to pay all your ratepayers $30?
Well,
how many residents in your city?
In our city's 12,000.
So it'd be 12,000
times 30.
Yeah.
The chair is bad with math, but that comes out to 360,000. Is that right?
So, yeah, that sounds about right. Yes.
And so the utilities generally, when they pay out something like that, are they going to pass that on to the ratepayers eventually, or are they going to absorb it? How's that going to work?
The bill actually requires that those dollars, if the penalty is imposed by the body that determines whether it was the fault of the utility agency or not, if it is determined that it is the fault of the utility company, then it would come out of the shareholders' pot, not the ratepayers.
Okay. Thank you.
That's current practice today, by the way.
All right, we have a question or comment from Mr. Hadley.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. One question, Mr. Hernandez. Does this bill change the standard at all for holding utilities accountable? So in other words, we have a reimbursement process today where utilities are responsible for losses suffered under certain circumstances. Does this bill change the definition or the circumstances under which utilities are responsible, or does it simply add the requirement for the $30 per day for continuous loss of service?
This bill is consumer friendly in that a consumer could be a monolingual, a non-English speaking Spanish speaker or a Mandarin speaker who may not be aware of the program would automatically have this credit reimbursed to, or this credit provided to them in the utility bill. If there is damage beyond, the consumer is not limited on seeking damages beyond, but this would be an automatic program. Again, this program is already a good practice that is carried out by Pacific Gas and Electric and Southern California today. It just, what it does is it puts it in a statute that this program not be something that we do away from. It makes it automatic for the consumer to see the benefit of their losses without having to put forth any type of claim or having to get on the internet and find the pathway to addressing how to find and find recovery. It just makes it an automatic. The utilities know the areas that have experienced a blackout, and it gives them the easy pathway to remedy that with their ratepayers.
So, and maybe I'll ask my question a little more clearly, or try to be more clear. Today, under the reimbursement process, if it's an outage that's due to, say, weather or a driver running into a utility pole, that's not the utility's responsibility for reimbursement. If it is a fault of the utility's infrastructure, that is the fault. Does this bill change the criteria for reimbursement, or does it just extend it and make it automatic for a 24-hour outage?
It does not change the criteria.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments? I believe the bill has been moved by Mr. Quirk and seconded by the Vice Chair. Would you like to close?
I respectfully ask for your vote.
Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
The motion is due pass as amended with the amendments shown in the committee analysis and re-refer to the Appropriations Committee. Gatto.
Aye.
Gatto, aye. Patterson.
Aye.
Patterson, aye. Burke. Burke, aye. Chavez.
Aye.
Chavez, aye. Daly. Eggman. Christina Garcia. Eduardo Garcia. Hadley.
Aye.
Hadley, aye. Hernandez.
Aye.
Hernandez, aye. Obernolte. Aye. Obernolte, aye. Quirk.
Aye.
Quirk, aye. Santiago. Aye. Santiago, aye. Ting. Williams. Aye. Williams, aye.
Thank you very much. That bill has passed. All right, we are going to entertain motions on the bills that were presented while we were just a subcommittee. Those bills